Hello, it's me, your favorite indie author, Julian Greystoke, and I'm back again. Today I'm doing something a little bit different that I didn't even know I was going to do until this morning. I stumbled across this and was like, you know what? I want to talk about it. If you're new here, this video is going to be a little bit weird. I'm not one of those author tubers who talks about authors behaving badly or anything like that, but this one grabbed me. This specific thing grabbed my attention. Let's talk about it, okay? So a few days ago, I heard a different YouTuber talking about this kerfuffle that went down on Threads. Now, I do have a Threads account, but I'm not on there very often. Like once a week I'll pop on to post my latest video, and that's about all I do on Threads. I just don't have the energy for so much social media. Bad indie author, bad. Anyway, somebody was talking about this thing that apparently popped off on author threads that I completely missed about a certain author who said something kind of controversial that got people all up in a tizzy. Now, of all the controversial things they could say, I feel that this is one of the tamer ones compared to certain authors in the world right now, and I like some tame drama. I would prefer to keep my drama low key. But even though this is pretty low key, people are having big reactions to it because it's the internet and nobody knows how to have small reactions on the internet. There's only big reactions on the internet. And so I thought, why don't I stick my nose in this and share my own thoughts about this situation because, drumroll please, let's get to it. There is an author on Threads who supposedly has a debut book coming out. We'll talk about that in a minute. But they posted this very spicy thread that made a lot of people quite angry. I will try to include all the links below. It is possible that this may be deleted at some point, so if the links don't go anywhere, it means they were deleted. If I'm really feeling up to the task, I'll try to get screenshots. Anyway, this person said, I killed a dog in my book and I said there's no afterlife. Then I watched a writing video that said pets can have big roles in books, so be careful. And a beta reader asked me if a dog dies and said that she checks a site with a list of books to avoid. By the way, that site is called Does the Dog Die, I believe. It's movies and I guess also books. Anyway, then a dating app guy said my afterlife rule was a hard pass and dipped. Damn people, dog culture is dire. They're a great pet, but stop acting like they have little moons orbiting them. Your behavior is raising your vet bills. They're not your child. Chill. All right, so that got people riled up for a whole bunch of reasons. Just not even just one reason. People are trying to pin it on one reason, but people are mad for a number of reasons. And I'm not thrilled about it either, and we'll talk about my thoughts and feelings on it too. As well as just read some of the reactions, because honestly, the replies are hilarious. By the way, Nigel is here. If you're new, Nigel is one of my cats. He is quite old, but he still likes to come help me film and hit me in the face with his tail. So obviously I am an animal person. I'm an animal lover. I've always had animals all my life. When I was in my teens, I raised dairy goats. I've always had horses. I've always had dogs. I've always had cats. We now have ferrets. So I am an animal person. And right away, I don't love dogs being killed in books. Will I avoid a book if I know a dog dies in it? No, I'm not quite to that extreme. I'll be sad about it or disappointed that the author couldn't find some way to prove the situation was serious without killing the dog, usually in a pretty brutal way. I read a lot of horror books, and those are famous for the offing of beloved pets in very brutal ways. And I'm like, can we prove the situation is dire without that? Somebody, let's be a little bit more creative. But that's about where my feeling about the killing of pets in books, that's as far as it goes, is being like, I don't really like this. I really wish we could avoid this, but whatever, I guess I'll tolerate it, especially if the story needed it. Sometimes the story doesn't need it, and authors just are lazy and use it as shorthand, and I really especially don't like that. So that's one side of it, is just the people who are mad because she's being so dismissive about having killed a dog. The verbiage, I killed a dog, instead of a dog dies in my book, is also she's proud of it, which is confusing. Of all the things to brag about in the book you're planning to publish and you want people to read, you chose that you kill a dog and there's no afterlife. Immediately she says that too. She's like, I kill a dog and there's no afterlife. So if you thought that dog was going to heaven, fuck you. So That's annoying to begin with, is the weird pride that she took in it and the verbiage that she chose. But then she went on, and this is where I have a lot more of an issue. Like, the dog thing, okay, whatever, weird flex, but okay. But then she went on to be like, a beta reader didn't like it. And somebody that I was talking to on a dating site that I inexplicably was telling about my book dipped because of it, which is confusing to me. I guess you guys must have just been really in the beginning parts of messaging back and forth, because unless you were proudly like, I'm just imagining her just telling this guy very proudly, hey, by the way, I kill a dog in my book and there's no afterlife. So that dog's soul is just gone. That dog is just gone and I'm super proud of it. And the guy being like, okay, the no afterlife thing is like an aggressive choice. So I could say, I'm just like picturing that happening. I have no idea how that conversation went down, but that's at least 2 people who gave her feedback. And she was like, no. And we'll talk about how I think that maybe this author struggles with receiving feedback in another one of her posts that I found. That it's like, that she might be one of those authors who claims to want feedback, but then when they get the feedback, if it doesn't agree with what they've already decided, then they're just going to say that it's bad feedback. And a lot of people, and in the comments, and we'll read some comments in a minute, pointed out that she could probably eliminate the dog death and the book might not suffer for it. Like, is this a load-bearing dog death? Is this a thing that you need to have happen for this book to work? Perhaps because she's bragging about it and doesn't seem to be bragging about anything else about her book. This is the one thing she wants to highlight. Again, a choice, all right? But the thing for me is that it seems like she maybe doesn't take feedback super well. And we all know how I feel about that. Like, you have to be able to take critique as an author, and you have to be able to at least consider it before you dismiss it out of hand as like not something you're interested in. And if you can't do that, I just don't have a whole lot of respect for you as an author. And hey, who cares about Julian's respect? There's people out there going, why would I care if Julian respects me? And that's fair. Continuing on, then they come after dog culture, which I am assuming that she made this up because I've never heard of anyone call it dog culture before. But apparently she's mad that people love their pets, which is, again, a weird flex. Like, why are you bragging about this? Why are you like, I just don't get it. Are you a cat person? Like, what is going on? Specifically dog culture. I mean, I kind of love all my pets. I'm not a cat person or a dog person or anything person. I love them all. Give me all the cute, fluffy animals, please. I mean, I had a dog. She died this year, which is very sad. She lived to be 16. She lived to be quite old, shockingly old. And she had a really good life, I like to think, with me. We had a great time together. I miss her all the time. But obviously dogs do die. She was a dog. Like, she wasn't my child. She was a hound, so she was kind of independent. And like, she didn't sleep in our bed. She had her own bed on the floor. She didn't eat people food. She had her own food. Although when she got very, very old and very, very sick, I did make her meals for her. I made her special meals because that's the kind of person that I am. I did not consider her to be my child, but that does not mean that I didn't love her a lot or feel very, very sad when she did finally pass away. People who are trying to pretend that not loving your pet is a flex confuse the crap out of me. She was my friend. She was my friend and she died. She doesn't have to be my fur baby. She was my friend. She was my companion. We hung out a lot together. We went on walks daily, multiple times a day. We were out together exploring the world. I knew her personality and she knew mine. So that's a friend. That's a friend. You're allowed to be sad when your friend dies. You know, but this person doesn't seem to think so. Also, they erroneously believe that loving your pet raises your vet bills. Well, yeah, if you love your pet enough to take good care of them, your vet bills are going to be higher. Nigel, for example, is on 3 different medications. He's also about 16 years old. He's on 3 different medications, and he has been on 2 of them for quite a few years. And also now he receives fluids under his skin, which I give him. So he's expensive. He's an expensive cat. But he's my friend, so he's worth it. Where's the problem? I don't see it. So yeah, taking good care of your pets is expensive. Some people do think that she's trying to imply that, like, veterinarians are just out for your money, but I know veterinarians. My sister is a veterinary technician. If you don't like how expensive the vet you're seeing is, you can try other options. Some veterinary clinics will be more expensive than others. It depends on location. It depends on what services they provide. Like there's a whole bunch of factors. And right now, with the economy going the way it is, everything is more expensive, including the supplies that the veterinarians need. Anyway, this is a whole thing that doesn't even pertain to writing, but like this, there's just so many layers to this. So anybody who's trying to dismiss it as just, oh, she said that the dog dies in her book and people just can't handle dogs dying in books. That's not the only problem. If you're trying to just dismiss it as people being soft little snowflakes who can't handle a dog dying in a book, you're oversimplifying the issue. This entire post is a lot of things that are all red flags for me. Not that I knew about her book or was planning to read it anyway, but now I'm certainly not going to. And a lot of people have pointed out that this thread was a bad choice and going to make people not want to read her book, and it is still up. So she fully still stands by this sentiment. She has not changed her mind. This is really, truly how she feels. But anyway, let's read some of the comments because those are fun. And then we're going to look at like at least one other thing I think that this author has posted, and one other thing that's making people kind of look at her a little suspiciously. But let's see if we can find some fun comments. Yeah, this person says, I don't rile easily, but hold on. I'm going to ignore the dog part because to me, that's not even the worst thing here. It's awful to throw a beta reader under the bus for asking a question about a valid content warning. Animal death is traumatizing. They were in their right to ask, and it's poor taste to publicly diminish their concerns regardless of your viewpoint on pets. If I did this to one of my beta readers, I would fully and rightfully expect no one to ever read from me again. Yes, do not disrespect your beta readers. They are doing you a favor. You should be worshiping them. Like, beta readers are amazing, and thank goodness for them. And if one of them asked me for like trigger warnings in one of my books, such as animal death, I would give them the trigger warnings. And if one of them was a no-go for that reader, I would be like, that is completely valid. I understand. And that would be the end of the conversation. I would not belittle that beta reader on the internet. That's bad form. I hope you're taking notes. That's bad form. Don't do that. I didn't think I would have to include something like that in the video that I made about beta readers, but maybe I did. Yes, she posted later on that she believes that vets are seeing people increasingly treat their pets like children, and some are realizing that they could make good money off this. Okay, that's an interesting take. I think she does have pets, and I feel sorry for her pets because she basically just said, I will not get them the vet care they need because it's expensive. To me, that's what that sounds like. I could be completely off and reading too far into that, but I feel like she's one of those people who lets their dog limp for years and then takes him to the vet and is just like, yeah, he just does that. This person says, if I may, ask yourself if the dog needs to die for the story to work. It is an overused trope to elicit a cheap emotional reaction. That's how I feel about it. If it is integral to the plot and there's no other way to achieve what you're going for, then it can be justified. But if not, maybe look for different options. That's helpful advice for anything in your book. Is it super necessary? This person says, your open mouth insert foot remark insulting readers reminded me of this remark an indie author said 8 years ago at a convention I went to. Why isn't anyone buying my book? They're all losers, she said as I walked up to her booth to look at her book. She glared at me. I walked away after that. Never insult your customers, period. Yeah, it's really, really bad form. Don't do that, especially if your book isn't even out yet. I'm not going to read this person's whole post, but I do like their ending. They're talking about how vet bills are not going up because people love their pets too much. I would like to see your proof that it's connected to those of us who, checks notes, actually actively care about our dogs and take them for treatment as needed, just as you should with any pet or child. I would like to see your notes, please. Your proof that that's a thing. Readers are allowed to set boundaries and check content warnings. Mocking emotional attachments doesn't make you edgy. It makes you disrespectful. Yes, 1000% this. Mocking emotional attachments doesn't make you edgy. Stop trying to be edgy. In fact, can we just stop trying to be edgy? Every time somebody's trying to be edgy, they're just mean. Is that what you're going for? Because that's not going to sell you a lot of books. There's another comment I agree with. I've come to believe One of the most fundamental and important things about being a writer is empathy. This post is an interesting way to announce one's own willful lack of it, even when presented with so many opportunities for reflection and growth. I forgot who said it, and I'm going to misquote it, but someone said something like, writers are empathy machines. And that is very true. To write good characters, we have to be able to empathize. That's like the whole job. I agree with this post as well. So multiple people told you that this was a bad idea, and your response was to make a big social media post about your awful idea. Incredible stuff. You should sell a marketing course. Now, a lot of these aren't like really funny responses or thoughtful responses. This author has probably tried to rebut several of them. And, she might have points there. So I encourage you to go look at this yourself and don't just listen to me reading these. But please do not attack this author. This is not a call to action to go after this person. If this is a call to action to do anything, it's like maybe don't be this person's beta reader and maybe don't read their book if you're not interested in it. You can still read their book. Like, I don't care. This isn't even a call to action to tell you not to read their book. This is just a call to action to be like, don't be like this. Like, heads up, don't do this as you market your own book. What I want you to take away from this, do not attack this person. We never, ever, 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 ever here on this channel support attacking anyone on the internet. In fact, I have not even commented at all, because enough people have already said everything that I would say. Now, this author may be thinking, and correctly so, that the algorithm doesn't care if these responses are negative. That's the thing. Leaving these negative comments is still actually helping her. It's telling the algorithm on Threads that she is popular, and so her posts are actually going to be seen by more people as a result of her leaving this thread up. That's something that sometimes people don't think about, is that interaction on the internet translates in the mindless world of algorithms into this is good. You know how they say that any attention is good attention? Is that what it is? It's kind of true on the internet. So there's no thumbs down option. So she's just getting so many comments that are actually helping her in the algorithm. Several people have also pointed out John Wick, which is the entire movie series is based on a man attempting to avenge his dog. So maybe her book's like that. I don't know. But let's look at some of the other things I wanted to talk about that I noticed while I was looking at this thread. One of them that people picked up on is the book she's trying to publish right now is actually she's republishing a book. She's advertising it as though it is her debut. This is the first book she's ever published. It's not. It's the same book that she published in the past. Somebody went and found it on Amazon, which she just laughed off. I'm kind of concerned about this author, honestly. She seems a little bit unhinged to me, but maybe she's better adjusted than I am. I don't know. She published this book previously and it did not do well. So she took it down, she re-edited it, she's publishing it again. That's fine. I have no problem with that. That's something that's great about being self-published is you can do that. If you're not satisfied with the book that you have up online, you can take it down at any time, revamp it, and put it back up again. The problem for me and other people is that she's treating it as though she never wrote that first version. She's just treating it as though she's a fresh debut author all over again, and I'm afraid you only get to be a debut author once. The dishonesty. It's the dishonesty for me, the shadiness for me, the hiding that this was already published once and is a new version. What's wrong with saying, hey, I took this book down because I didn't like it and now I have a better version for you. Would you like to read it? I had growth. That's what that says to me, is that I had growth. I decided that this book wasn't up to par, and so I took it down and I revamped it. Now, it seems like perhaps she did not listen to a lot of her beta readers. That's just a hunch that I have. Apparently, according to this poster, this author also berated a beta reader for the earlier version of the book, too. I have no proof of that. I feel like this is a trend. Now, I thought I had another post where someone talked about, or she talked about, ignoring some critique, but now I can't find it. Okay, here it is. A lot of people are telling me, that should be your first sign. A lot of people are telling me I need to elaborate on my blurb. So she has a blurb, she's asked people for advice about it, they're telling her it's not enough. I appreciate the feedback. Do you? And I'm open to change. Are you? But I don't know if I agree. Just because something is traditionally done a certain way doesn't mean it's right. Ugh. Does it occur to you that people aren't telling you to change it because, like, that's the way it's traditionally done, but because your blurb just isn't enough and you need more? If a lot of people, as you claim, are telling you something, that's a really good sign that you need to change it. Like, I cannot help but think that this person just does not, like, they have beta readers for show, but if that beta reader ever disagrees with them, they just go, I'm willing to listen and I'm willing to make changes, but I really think you're wrong, so I'm not going to change anything.
But let's have a looky look at this blurb, because one of the things that I offer as a developmental editor is for a very affordable price, I will help you make your blurb better for your book. So let's have a looky look at this blurb that people are telling her she needs more. As you can see, the book already has one-star rating, probably from somebody disgruntled over her post. You got to watch out for that. If you make your readers mad enough beforehand, they're going to downvote your book before it even comes out. That is the downside. They can go to a place where their 1-star matters. So this is the blurb. A man discovers that the dead have awareness and are tethered to their body for a year after they die. So he begins a frantic activism to try to convince the world to stop burying their dead, aware loved ones. A frantic activism, I think, is just a typo, but you don't want that in your blurb, friends. You want to get that out of there. But also, this is not a blurb. This is an elevator pitch. I think she's gotten very confused between a blurb and an elevator pitch. A man is your main character named A Man, and he discovers the dead have awareness. You could put in how he discovers the dead have awareness. That seems like something that would be near the beginning of the book, that is a fun piece of information that would be okay to share with the reader to entice them along. Are there any other characters in this story, or is it just a man, the adventures of a man, trying to do a activism to try to convince the world to stop burying their dead-aware loved ones? Their dead-aware enemies is fine. So, yep, I agree with the people that are telling her to fix her dang blurb, and she's like, well, that just because that's the way it's always done, it's done that way for a reason, not just to piss you off personally. If you have a hard time writing your own blurb, you could probably hire someone on Fiverr. Don't use AI to do it, although she seems like the type who would.
Now, obviously, I don't know what this person is really like. This is them on Threads, and maybe they say inflammatory things to piss people off to get a lot of comments, because that's one way to do it. But yeah, if they are saying inflammatory things to try and get attention, they are shooting themselves in the foot, because a lot of people are now saying they don't want to read the book. Now, maybe this has brought the book to the attention of more people than would ever have found out about it previously, but this is not great attention, and it's too late to salvage it now. Literally alienating as many audiences as possible. All you're gonna get are the people who are like here to celebrate the dog death with you, and I bet that dog death is not going to be impactful enough in your story to justify them reading your book. So yeah, those were my thoughts on this person who seems to be a lot. I would not want to work with this person. I would actually say avoid them as a beta reader, even more than avoid them as a reader, because they are not going to take your advice. I feel certain that once they publish their book, if they get negative reviews, they're going to blow a gasket. I don't know. I feel like they're going to be one of those people who's just like, everybody's out to get me and I can prove it because I posted one thing about dogs and everybody's insane about dogs. And I'm like, I feel like the dog thing was a weird take. But for me, it's your blatantly saying that you don't listen to advice that's the problem.
Probably one of those frustrating authors who, if they get any negative reviews, just go, well, you just didn't understand my book. You're too stupid to understand my book, and just insult their readers more. Because, like, their book is somehow elevated beyond what other normal people could write.
Anyway, that's enough of me talking about this. I didn't even plan to talk about this. As I've said, please do not go harass this person. Everything that needs to be said to this person has already been said and they have ignored it. So there's really no point in wading into this. It's just going to feed the algorithm and convince Threads that this person is more popular than they are. And if you're looking for some advice on your book that you happen to be editing, hello, hi, I also happen to be a developmental editor, and you can hire me, find me on Fiverr, and we'll talk about whether I would be a good fit for your book. I also have several books that are published right now that you can read if you'd like to see if I have any skills to pay the bills. They all have animals in them, and those animals live. So if you're concerned about that, I have a short going over all of my books and what animals are in them and whether they live or not, so go check that out. But you're pretty safe with my books, honestly. I kill the people characters before I kill the animal characters. People, super in danger. Animals, pretty safe, actually. And tune back in next time for whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye!
Angel, angel, angel. Does every conversation we have to come around to that freak? Hey man, how you doing?
You want to know who I won't stop talking about? My patrons. Patrons like Jen, Tex, Moon Island, Zenith, Corey, Ashley, Bunna, Nemo, Tactical Hot Dog, Haley History Nerd, Stephanie, Pixelizzy, Raya, Christina, Cameron, Lady Kragan, Jose, Lunar Muse, AJ, Marshy, Semi-Dark, GK, Annika, Jen, Gay Tutter, Tina, Laknunga, SB Boots, Martha Baggins, July, Bird Anonymous, Sarah, Cat, 78 kilograms of shade, Ingrid, Roma, Haley, Sam, Kira, Mooney, Pudamancer, Kirsten, Bear, Jojo Bookish, Robin, Ursula, Caitlin, Jessica, KJ, Mufflier, Celia, Deborah, Swamp Goblin Waifu, Sophia, Marine, Kit, Hidden Glade, like Julie, Patrick, and Sophie, Callison, Vampire Antihero, Shelby, Zaire, Jesper, Rennie, Scribbling Cat, Savvy, and Jenny. Thanks so much for your support, guys. I couldn't be doing this without ya.